So you might be wondering, how do you find amazing altcoins in the crypto market that are going up that can make you a lot of money and potentially get you a 10x or a 100x? Here is my very simple way that I have learned to screen for cryptocurrencies that I've never seen anybody out there talk about. And so as we get more into, I know today is a horrible week in crypto. Nobody knows what's going on with Iran, Israel, and we're seeing Bitcoin go down to like 99,000, 98,000. Cardano's getting punched. Everything's getting punched in the face, right? But as these things are getting punched in the face, I think that this is a really important time. And it could be, I see the shakeout in a good lens to where this is allowing crypto to coil up a bit more, to load the spring a little bit more, to get more prepared and to shake out some weaker hands so that us big time buyers are still here and will make the rest of the profits on the way up. And so I think this is a really important time in crypto, not to be afraid, but to understand what is going on and to find really good setups. You're going to be able to find really good setups if you follow a proper screening tool. And I've taken this directly from what I do in the stock market, which I like to make more videos on how I'm trading stocks this exact same way. But taking what I've seen work in the stock market for, I haven't been around the whole time, but from what I have learned, it's been around 50 years 100 years that this method in the stock market has worked. And when we apply it to crypto, we get a unique advantage that many people in crypto do not know about. And so I want to share this with you today, a little bit of a hidden gem here, how to screen for cryptocurrencies that are breaking out, that are on the uptrend, that are really good buys and at good buy points to vastly improve your profitability and your odds at making a 10x or a 100x return. And then repeating that, right? Getting in a coin, doubling it, getting into a new coin, doubling it, getting into a new coin, doubling it. You're only going to be able to do that if you have a list of cryptos that are on the uptrend, that are pre-screened, and you're not just clicking on coin market cap through all the tokens that everybody on social media says you should be in. If everybody's talking about it, you probably shouldn't be in it. This is how to screen for cryptos that actually matter and are actually doing the right things. So there's two ways you can do it. The first thing you can do is you can go to Google, okay? Type in trading view crypto screener. Okay, and this first one's going to pop up here. This one's okay. It works. It's not my favorite, but this is one of the crypto pair screeners that I've used before, and it's on TradingView. And what you can do is you can come in here, come over to the filters, and you have a ton of things. You have a ton of things you can filter by. What I would personally do if you choose this one is I would come over here, I would go to spot because I only trade spot, which is, no leverage, no futures. So you want to put this on spot. Then you want to put price. Let's see, you search price above or maybe above or equal to simple moving average 50, basically the 50-day. So that's going to be our first screen. Now we have a couple filters in here, and what this is going to give us is we have about 4,000 cryptocurrencies here where price is above the 50-day. Now this is obviously too many. 40 or 4,000 cryptos is way too many to work through, so we got to add more stuff here. So now we're going to go simple moving average 50 is above or equal to simple moving average 200, right? I like 200. 200 is a good one. Simple moving average 50 needs to be above simple moving average 200. Now we're down to about 1,200 matches, okay? Then we can continue to come in here and we can go exchange type. Let's say we want to do maybe just like, we can come in here and pick an exchange. Let's say we want, maybe use Coinbase, maybe use Binance US, maybe use Kraken, maybe use Gemini, right? You can also, I believe, Uniswap is on here, right? Uniswap, you can do whatever kind of dexes you want to use. But let's say we just want to buy on a centralized exchange to start. Let's see, what does that give us? This gives us only 74 spot options for what cryptocurrencies we could possibly trade into. And so this crypto pair screener on TradingView is really powerful. And the way that I would screen on this isn't going to be the one that I think you should be primarily used, but I think this is a good weekend tool when you're doing a lot of research. You can come in here and see, okay, Bitcoin Cash is going up against BNB, it's going up against Ethereum, it's going up against the euro, it's going up against the dollar, it's going up against GBP, and you get a lot of different options here about currencies you can trade in, especially if you live in Europe or you don't live in America, or it's going up against USDC, USDT. This is the first way that you can filter for cryptocurrencies in a strong uptrend. This is my second favorite way. My favorite way, if we go over to the charts here, let's click on Aave. Let's just get into a crypto chart here, get out of this thing. And now we're in an actual crypto chart. If you read my Crypto 100x Blueprint newsletter in the description, then you know basically the criteria I'm looking for very strong cryptocurrencies. And my criteria is over here on this side. So when you're in trading view, right, you have a chart like this. I mean, I can click into Bitcoin, I can click into if my computer will load, I can click into Bitcoin, I can click into Ethereum, right? I can click into Aave. Well, the way that you can filter for cryptocurrencies right here in this screen that's free to everyone is on the side over here. Hopefully you can see this little radar looking thing, and it's called screeners. It's right here. You want to click this and it's going to open up some options. Yours might open like this with the stock screener first. This is my stock screening tool. But you have a bunch of options here: dex screener, sex screener, crypto coin screener. That's the one we're going to use today. And all I want you to do is click into the crypto coin screener and add criteria that you think is interesting. Now, if you don't know what criteria to pick, I'll help you pick some criteria here for the best cryptos to buy. The first thing that I would do is come in here and I would remove anything that says stablecoin. So I don't want algorithmic stablecoin. I don't want asset backed stablecoin. I don't want fiat backed stablecoin. I want no stablecoin because the price of stablecoins shouldn't change, right? I only want assets that are going to go up. So we're going to remove stablecoins from our list. Then we have everything else. Next thing we're going to do is, again, price. You can come in here and let's say if you don't have price right here, you might be wondering, how do I do it? Come in here, hit the plus button, price. You can click price, and then you're going to click price again, manual setup, and then you can go price is above or equal to simple moving average 50-day. Okay. So now you're going to get price. You're only going to get crypto assets where price is above the 50-day. And so I already have this one here. Price is above the 50-day. The next thing I want to do is you can click plus again and go simple moving average. And you can go simple moving average 50-day, add that filter. And you can go simple moving average 50-day, manual setup above or equal to value, simple moving average 200-day. Okay, just like that, 200-day. And I have that one right here. You see, I have this one right here, 50-day over the 200-day. Now, right now is not a very, to be honest with you, for altcoins, it's not a very bullish time. Not many altcoins fit this criteria. And then of the altcoins that fit this criteria, not many are open to US based exchanges. So I live in the United States, I live in Texas, and that really limits what altcoins I can pick. From this list here, a lot of these ones at the bottom, they're such small market cap tokens, they're not on Coinbase or Binance or Gemini or Kraken, right? And so they're not really, I don't want to have to go to every centralized or every DEX with every new wallet and kind of do that work. And so what I do is I kind of focus on the top couple altcoins here that are on the major exchanges that I have access to with one single wallet. Even in this top section, Hype, for example, I would love to buy Hyper Liquid as it moves into this 10-week moving average here, but it's not available in, I believe, it's on Binance. It's not on many centralized exchanges. It's on Binance, but Binance US won't let me buy it. And so it's out of my options for what I can buy. From here, obviously you get this list, and this list is going to change on a daily basis as price changes, but you're going to want to look at cryptocurrencies that are meeting this criteria and might, be at the top of the list with higher market caps or higher volumes. You can filter by those things. If we filter by market cap, you can do that. But the top cryptos are going to be the ones that you're going to look at to position into, as those are the ones setting up. For example, you see, ICP is not on this list right now because the ICP chart is not very advantageous to us immediately today. Let's go look at it. This is the ICP chart, and you can just see how price is moving below the 30 and 40 week moving average, which on a daily chart would coincide with the 200 and the 50-day. And you can see how price is just moving lower and lower and lower, not really getting that option to set up in an advantageous spot for us. Whereas Aave, on the other hand, is setting up pretty well. Aave was on this list like 3 days ago, which is why it's in my my mind and on my list, and why I'm trading it and I have a position in it. But Aave on the weekly chart, I really love how this is setting up in this nice, beautiful cup and handle. And I only found Aave setting up like this because I had this screener running and I checked it like last week as crypto was setting up. And so last week, you can see Aave was above the 30-week moving average, which is coinciding with the 50-day or the 200-day down here. But Aave was setting up above this and it was at a really beautiful spot. And so I took a position as it was sitting about right here. You can see BCH is on this list. Bitcoin Cash is setting up a little bit. And this is an we're getting advice on interesting cryptocurrencies where if they're above these moving averages, they will show up on this list as advantageous to buy. Now, for example, Bitcoin Cash right here doesn't really look like it's at an advantageous spot to buy as it's continuing to fall lower. But if it takes this 10-week moving average right here and rides this up and gets above this trend line and closes a week or two above it, then it could be really advantageous to buy into for a short term gain or like a 20% move or a 50% move or a 100% move. We would not know about Bitcoin Cash unless, it showed up on this list. Let's look at some other ones here. This is AB2 USD. I think this is like a derivative of Arbitrum, maybe. This is setting up in what looks like to be a nice big high type flag. Could be a stage 2 continuation base, could be a stage 3 topping signal. And basically, all we have to do from here is, now that we know that this is actually moving well, is kind of draw a resistance line, draw a support line, and say, okay, price is at the 10-week. I can take a position here today. My risk level is clearly defined at about 10% to the 30-week, right? And so if it falls below the 30-week or falls below the 10-week, you can take your profit. If it moves into the lower range and holds this range, you can start to buy and nibble up as it moves upwards. Or as it's breaking out from the top in here, you can buy as it breaks through this resistance line and buy on the next uptrend. So with this screener, you get a lot of really good information as to what crypto is in a positive momentum stage and what cryptos are not. For example, Solana is not on this list, right? Solana is not on this list, and it is actually, in my opinion, in a little bit of a bearish stage. You see how it is being pushed under its 30 and 40 week moving average, very similar to what happened here in 2022. Now, there could be some incredible news. Solana could get back above the 30 week and then get bullish again, and it will show up on this list at the time that it gets bullish again. But we want to focus our attention on what is on this crypto list. For example, here's another one, Saros. I don't know anything about this token. I don't know anything. But if you would have been screening on this list, you could have bought it as it flipped above this 30-week here, started to make this consolidation pattern. You could have drawn a simple, resistance line right here off of this cup and handle pattern. You buy as it breaks out, and now you're in an immense amount of profit of about, 1,000%. And that took 14 weeks. And so 14 weeks, 1000% identified right here through this crypto screener, and all you had to do was buy on the breakout. Same thing could be happening today. It could be forming a little resistance line here, moving to the side, getting some contraction as the overall crypto market contracts. If it breaks out of that, could be a great buy. If it retraces down, breaks below the 10-week, you cut your loss and you sell. So this screener is a very powerful tool that not a lot of people are looking at for identifying insane crypto tokens. And you can only imagine how this continues over the entire crypto cycle. Right now, I took a position in Aave, right? Aave, because Aave was on this list. Which one? This one. Aave was on this list 3 days ago, literally. This past day, the end of this week has been tough due to the Iran-Israel situation and President Trump moving America into that situation. You can see this week Aave is down 20%. But I took a position. Let's see. I took a position, I think, right here. What's my price at? Yeah, at about 241. At about 241, I took a position here in Aave. And that means that I am currently, in a loss of about 8%. I identified that I could give about 10% in order to be at this lower moving average here, or on the weekly chart, which I think is a little bit more advantageous for a good support line right here. I identified that right at about 220. 220 is where we have kind of this 10-week and this 40-week moving average rolling in together. I took a position here at 241 based on the criteria that I'm looking for in that screener. And you can see how at about 240, I am only at a 10% loss. 10% is a great spot to cut loss if it breaks below that. 10% is a great spot because a 10% loss takes an 11% gain to get back to even. And so maybe I bought a little bit too early, maybe I didn't. But what I really like about Aave is it has this cup and handle pattern. It's coming out, and I would love to see next week be a green week, continuing up back into this handle, breaking out of resistance, and then breaking out of this long-term downtrend over the next couple of months. I only identified this by going to the screener tool, setting the screener here, and Aave was on the screener 3 days ago. So I took a position. The other ones I'd consider taking a position in right now are Hyperliquid because of the screener. And then 3 days ago, Tron TRX was on this screener as well 3 days ago, and you can see how beautiful Tron has been going. Whether you like the decentralization, whether you like what the project is, who the founder is, all those do play a factor into long term success. But you cannot defy the fact that if you would have had this screener, price would have came above the 30-week right here. The 30 would have been above the 40-week, and you could have rode this over the last 2 years while all the other altcoins bled, and you would be in about 250% profit right now. Also, right now, Tron is in this beautiful cup and handle pattern. Price on the daily has collapsed below the key moving averages, right? So price has fallen below the 50-day, which is obviously a cause for short-term concern. Maybe it can come back down here and test this 200-day before bouncing back up. But on a weekly chart, a couple days ago, Tron was doing really well above the 50-day moving average. It showed up on this screener, and I think it would be a beautiful time to take a position at about this 10-week moving average because you can identify your risk. You can say, I'll buy at the 10-week moving average, and if it falls below the 10-week, I'll take a 2% loss, or I can buy right here, and if it falls below the 30-week, I'll take a 7% loss. That's an easy loss to take. Anything above 10% is too much, but this screener right here is how I identify 10x, 100x, really good altcoins to be in. And then as these break out and move up, you can cut half your profit, take half your profit, and move into the next thing that shows up on this list, whether it's, Bitcoin Cash, Hyperliquid, Pax Gold, whatever. You can see how altcoins on this list are in an uptrend, and then you can buy them at optimal buy points like cup and handles against key moving averages, and then continue that ride higher while everything else is kind of dropping. Even something like Cardano is not in as advantageous of a spot to buy today, which is why it's not on this list. You can see it's getting choppy in the moving averages. I still like Cardano, but I still hold a core position in a spot long term position. But in my trading wallet, it is not really as advantageous to trade today because it's below the key moving averages and not showing up on the screener. This is exactly how I screen for top altcoins to be in at the optimal point in time. There's really only 2 to 5 altcoins that are really optimal on this list to be in right now. Really can concentrate your attention on what to look at and when to look at. If you're not using a crypto screener, you're going to fall behind people who are using one that can identify the altcoins as they show up as quick as possible. So I think this is a great tool to add to your crypto altcoin or crypto investing or crypto trading toolkit, and you will find some really good deals on some really good altcoins at some really optimal buy points if you have a screener showing you what to do like this. If you like this, if you want to learn more about this, go ahead and hit the description. Crypto 100x Blueprint. That is my personal way I've been investing and how I think a lot of people should or could benefit from investing. We talk about a lot of stuff in the newsletter that's going to help you like this. So I think it's a really good free resource for a lot of people. And if you learn something in this video, I'd really appreciate a like and a subscribe. Just help the small channel trying to get to 7,000 subs. So really appreciate that if you could do it. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed the video. We'll definitely see you in the next one.